Hello students, welcome to AKS IAS. As part of our lecture series on perspectives on particular issues, that is, we are focusing on certain contemporary issues which are important for your mains examination, that is UPSC CSC mains examination, or the various state PCS, the state government examinations that will be useful. So these topics which we have picked up are also very important for you in your essay paper. Okay, essay paper of UPSC as well as other state PCS examination. Also, UPSC conducts various examination like CAPF, Indian Forest Service examination. So these issues are also relevant to those kind of examination where you have an essay paper. To start with, growth models for rural India. Okay, growth models for rural India. What is this topic about? So, why have we picked up this topic? This article is based on the lessons for yogi from Gandhi and Lee, which was the article published in the Hindu newspaper. It talks about the relevance of the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi and Lee Kuan Yew for the contemporary India. So this newspaper article was published in the Hindu newspaper and thus is gives certain information which could be useful for us in writing our mains answers as well as in certain essays. The article starts by saying that globalization has made life easy for migrant capital, that is, foreign investments like FDI, FII, etc. What is FDI? Foreign direct investment. FII is foreign institutional investments, not for migrant labor. See, this situation has been very well understood in our recent context in the COVID crisis, where the migrant labor have suffered the most due to the crisis, due to the economic lockdown as well. So, the author states that globalization has made life easy for migrant capital, that is, capital which is coming from outside of India, but not migrant labor. This can be reflected in the recent migrant crisis that emanated from COVID-19 pandemic. Also, the pull factor for migration, that is employment opportunities, has been severely affected due to such pandemic. So what is a pull factor for a particular person to migrate from rural areas to urban areas? It is obviously the major factor is the employment opportunities in the urban areas. It was said that the urban areas have more employment opportunities, so thus people were migrating from rural to urban areas. However, during this pandemic, it got severely affected because of the lockdown. Most of the industries, factories, service industries, and various kind of industries have been affected, and they went for shutdown. So that's why a lot of people who migrated from rural areas were left unemployed. Therefore, the need to attain self-reliance, especially in rural areas, has arose. Rural areas are the main source of providing migrant laborers. In this context, India can take some lesson from Lee Kuan Yew, the founding father of modern Singapore, and from Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian nation. What is the Singapore model of development? Lee Kuan Yew is known as the founder of modern Singapore, which was founded in the year 1965. Under 3 decades of his leadership between 1965 to 1990, the former British colony of Singapore got transformed from a poor fishing hamlet into a global financial hub and economic powerhouse under the leadership of Lee Kuan Yew. A key plank of Lee's model from the beginning was to attract foreign investment by assuring investors world class infrastructure and also an efficient administration with low taxes, low government taxes. So, the three important pillars for Singapore's investment policy was world class infrastructure, efficient administration, which is corruption free and a lot of transparency was established, and also low taxes, lesser taxes, which do not hamper investors. In return, he did not want multinational companies to merely set up labor intensive assembly factories. Rather, he wanted the companies to train Singaporeans to higher value work. So, Lee Kuan Yew wanted the Singapore population to gain the skills required for better value work, better value addition. So that is what he expected. So Lee Kuan Yew had the vision that the population should be skilled. It is only if the population is skilled that it will become an efficient and effective human resource. According to Lee, humans are not tools to produce returns for investors. Rather, money is a tool to produce benefits for humans. Thereby, people of Singapore would earn more and the country would become fully developed. That was the ultimate vision of Lee Kuan Yew. The ultimate measure of Singapore becoming fully developed was not the size of its GDP, but the incomes of its citizens. In order to address the roadblocks, that is, crony capitalism, corruption, political interference, and likewise to an efficient market economy, he established mechanisms to ensure honest and accountable governance. Through this, he made the ease of doing business in Singapore a reality. What is Gandhian economics in this context? Issues related to rural areas in India are more complex than in Singapore. The Gandhian vision of Purna Swaraj becomes important in this context. Why is it so? According to Gandhian idea of Purna Swaraj, in order to become fully independent, people in India's villages need to have economic and social freedom. So Gandhi says that for India to become independent in the real sense of the term, the villages, the grams in India, okay, the rural India should become economically and socially free. They should experience social and economic freedom in real sense of the term. Next, Gandhi believed that economy must serve human needs rather than human beings becoming fodder for the GDP. Okay, so he says that the economic progress, growth, and development should ultimately be able to serve human needs rather than cause any rather than just treating humans as a means to achieve some economic growth. Okay, so, the major principles of Gandhian economics that can be applied in Indian economy are enabling Gram Swaraj. According to Gandhi, the progress of human beings and local communities must be the means for economic growth. Okay, so ultimately, the progress, happiness of the local community and human beings should be the means for economic growth. Further, the governments of the day must be strengthened at the local or grassroots level in the villages and in the cities. So, based on this, India had adopted 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act so as to strengthen local self-governments. Next is the concept of trusteeship. The concept of trusteeship, as enunciated by Gandhi, demands non possession. It seeks individuals to dispossess their wealth and income beyond their requirements so that economic welfare of the less capable is realized. So he says that the individuals should possess wealth which is sufficient for them. They should not be greedy that they should try to accumulate more and more wealth. Once an individual possesses enough wealth so as to satiate his needs, he should try to transfer this wealth to the common good. According to him, wealth is good, but wealthy people must be only trustees of a community's wealth and not its owners. That is, the wealthy people are enjoying the wealth or are utilizing the wealth for the benefit of the community as a whole, rather than they should not treat themselves to be the owners of the particular wealth. Next is the formation of cooperatives. The alienation of owners from workers must be reduced with the creation of new models of cooperative capitalist enterprises, where the workers, not the remote capitalists or the state, are the owners of the enterprises. Next, focus on Sarvodaya. Gandhi states that government must focus on the well-being of the poorest and the weakest members of the society. He states that the ultimate focus of all human development and all economic progress should be the improvement of the poorest and weakest section, the improvement of the conditions of the poorest and weakest sections of the society. So, what is the way forward for India in this particular situation? The health crisis and the economic crisis emanating from COVID 19 have prompted governments all over the different levels, whether international, national, or state, to strive for self reliance. Okay, thus, India, under the recently launched Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, envisages self reliance and self resilience. This can be achieved by the confluence of ideas of Mahatma Gandhi and Lee Kuan Yew. The following factors become significant in this context. So, the author states that there should be a blend of Mahatma Gandhi's principles as well as the successful model of Singapore emanated by Lee Kuan Yew. Number one, syncing skills with business. The government must encourage private investors to play a critical role in skill upgradation and subsequent employment of India's youth. Next, giving tax incentives for those firms who help in skill upgradation may be a step in the right direction. This will not only help in making the trickle down effect possible, but also leverage India's demographic dividend. Okay, demographic decentralization. There is a strong need for providing functional autonomy to the grassroots democracy at Panchayat Raj institutions and urban local governments. Thus, number three is ensuring accountability. The government should initiate reforms under Part 14th, that is, services under the Union and States of the Indian Constitution, which makes it difficult to dismiss corrupt officials. So, this Part 14th of the Indian Constitution is making it difficult for dismissing corrupt officials. So, thus, the author states that there should be a change in it so that the government becomes more transparent and dynamic in approach. Also, governance policy must be committed to implementing systems that continuously attract the best talent to politics and governance. One thing, of course, that India can reject from the teachings of Lee Kuan Yew is the limits to the freedom of expression and and its limited democracy that depends critically on having one good person at the helm. Also, Gandhi's averseness to technology, with which very much defines the past, present, and future, is much debated today. So the author ultimately states that we have to take the best and the whatever are the useful principles from both these models and implement it in India and try to modify it so as to cater to the indigenous needs and circumstances. So in this flowchart you have this Gandhian concept of Swaraj. So Swaraj, Gandhi says, should be at the individual level, social level, cultural level, economic level, and political level. At the political level, Swaraj means democratic decentralization. At the social level, it means ending untouchability and communal violence. At the individual level, it means self control and the control of desires and passions. At a cultural level, Swaraj means culture as our identity, accept good things from our cultures and religions, and reject the evils in our cultural practices. At the economic level, Swaraj means production by the masses, that is, through cottage industry. And Gandhi believed in the idea of land to the tillers. Okay, whoever is tilling the land should be the beneficiary out of it. So we will be discussing this mains question based on our discussion. So please try to write an answer for this question for your practice. Okay. COVID-19 pandemic has shown the lacunae associated with the current economic model that focuses more on GDP rather than human and local economics. In the light of the statement, discuss the growth model that can be adopted for a self-reliant India. So try to answer this question based on the discussion that we had. What was Singapore model? What is the Gandhian philosophy? And in which way these models can be amalgamated to the Indian context. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.